They removed my son's clothes and I'm like, what is wrong with you guys? He's just new. And mom is like, have you counted his feet? Only me, they're like, she needs to open his mouth to see if he's tongue-tied or something. I'm like, what are you guys doing? Hi, my name is Damaris Mweresa. I'm a mom of 2 and this is my bun in the oven story. So my first pregnancy, I got when I was a bit early. I was like 21 years old. I had gotten married. I had just gotten married. And initially, I didn't know I was pregnant. How I found out I was pregnant is there's somewhere I used to go to work to around Langata Road. So in the evenings, when I came back, I used to be so tired to a point that when I reached home, the only thing I wanted to do was. So after some time, I got to learn that I was pregnant with my first child. And to be quite honest, the pregnancy was one quite smooth one, if I can say. And it was smooth because, let me say necessarily, I didn't know what I was getting myself into. I didn't know anything to expect. So I kind of just went with the flow. First 3 months, they were just easy. The only thing I ever had in my was basically throwing up, being nauseated. I never loved smell, any kind of smell. I never loved any kind of smell. Apart from that, I think there's nothing else I ever had or experienced that I could say that was tough on my side on my first trimester. Reaching to my second trimester, a walk in the path. I had nothing. The only thing I could assure you guys is that I used to eat. I never ever picked any kind of food. I ate anything that was served on my plate. I used to eat everything. I remember at some point on my 7th pregnancy, I kind of had, I think it's called Braxton Hikes. And basically my first pregnancy, please note, I was so naive. I didn't know what I was getting myself into. It's like you're just entering in a bus, you don't know where it's going to stop. So for my first pregnancy, it was a smooth ride. I didn't know what I was getting myself into. So the moment I started feeling those Braxton hikes, I think I kind of had like a paranoia. I was a bit paranoid. And moving back, I have a strong and a crazy mother at the same time. So according to her, you're not supposed to start clinic very early because you see it's the first pregnancy. So she was like, chill out, let the baby reach 5 months, then go and do clinics. So I started my clinic at around 5.5 months is when I started my clinic with my baby. I went, got my first injection. I think there are usually 3 of them or 2. Got my first one. For my first one, nothing crazy happened. Because I know there are all these paranoia stories. I was told, oh, you get sick, you feel like maybe you have malaria, something. Like for my case, I had nothing. And for my second one, I went and got that shot. I went and got that shot in the morning. And in the afternoon, I remember we were going for a funeral with my mom. That day, the whole day, I felt like I was seriously sick. Yani, I was extremely sick. But over and due, by the time I was reaching in the 7th trimester, when I was telling you now is when I started having those Braxton hikes. For me, I knew that is it. Like, this is the time. The baby is going to come anytime soon. But you see, I was so naive. So over and due, I decided, let me go back and stay with my mom, my parents. Maybe my mom knows best. And at the same time, as they say, life, when you are pregnant, you're bringing forth life. For me, I was not just bringing forth a life of a baby. The previous year, my mom had a very major surgery that concerned about mostly her reproductive system. She had severe fibroids that had eaten almost half of her uterus. And we are born 4 girls. So you see, for me to come and tell her I'm pregnant the following year is like I was also giving her hope of life. Like, despite whatever has happened, there's still a new life coming forth. So when I went back home, everybody's excited. First pregnancy, the family, everybody is like, gonga, something. Then I was evaluating. It's my first pregnancy. I personally didn't know that you're supposed to book a hospital or you're supposed to find a place to give birth. Where my parents lived was in East Lee, California, just behind Pumwani Maternity Hospital, because I grew up and I was raised in a church compound, St. John's. So it was just a fence to Pumwani Maternity Hospital, and most of the nurses and the midwives used to come to church where we stay. Plus, it's a place where you guys have grown together. So basically, in one way or the other, you must know one or two people. So let me say, as luck would have me, my aunt was a midwife there. So when my time kept on coming, I kept on contacting her and telling her, this is what I'm thinking, this is what I'm feeling. And she told me, when the time is right, call me, I'll come and take you there. So you see, I never had that. Again, I was literally so naive. I didn't know what I had gotten myself into. So I stayed for my son. I think I did the whole 42 weeks. I can't explain why, but I did the whole 42 weeks. So on the last week, one morning on a Friday morning, I woke up around 4 a.m. and was feeling these crazy cramps, like a very crazy sharp cramp on my tummy. And I was wondering, so maybe this is it. Maybe it's still the Braxton hikes. Again, I told you I have a very crazy mother who believes it has to be really crazy. You must be in really crazy pain. So for her, she used to tell me, you cannot die while giving birth. That was what she used to tell me. She used to tell me, you'll either die with the baby in your tummy or you'll give birth, then you die. Ajawai skia, someone died out of giving birth. So she used to tell me, you have to be strong. It is not a pain that will kill you. Then I had a lot of people surrounding me that were telling me some very crazy stuff. My mom's sister was one of those kinds who are very paranoid, kitu kidogo, hospitali. So anytime she used to come to visit my mom and sees me eating and drinking, she used to tell me, where? You will shit all this food before you give birth. And in my head, I'm thinking, oh my God, so when the time reached, so I was having such thought, like, I have eaten, so I'm going to go and shit, I'm going to go and pee all this water, like all those crazy stories that I've had. But the main thing that remained in my head, it was like, I can't die. It's either I die with the baby or the baby comes out, then I die. So I woke up in the morning. It was one of those days matatu walikuwa wameamua wamegoma. Told my mom, it was around 4. I could not just wake up and go and call my mom because my dad was preparing to leave to go for work. So I had to control myself until when my dad went. So when my dad went, I told my mom, well, mom, I think it's time. My mom is like, relax. Calls my aunt. My aunt comes and she's like, oh my God, uko 1 centimeter, bado. It's like, endeni mtembe. Now, please note, this is the first grandbaby in the family. So you can imagine the excitement. This baby has not yet come. I'm just having, like, let me say, the first early signs of labor. So my mom is excited, calling her dad, calling my aunt, like, it's time. And then she's like, since it's 1 centimeter, why don't we do this? Let's go and shop more. And she's like, kwanza watu wako na mimba hawapangangi line. Now, we've not paid the house, so it is going to be a good opportunity if me and you go and pay at the bank, because I won't panga line. Mimi huyo with my pregnancy, we went Equity. I was in pain, trust you me guys. First of all, matatu zimegoma, so we had to walk via Kikomba. Ukiteremka huko chini mkienda Machakos with my mom and my pregnancy. I am cramping, inauma, inawacha, I'm laboring. It aches, it stops. And she's like, it has not yet reached the time. At some point, she's like, hebu jikaze, please, staki aibu. Went to the bank, paid. I didn't panga line. I just went, like, you just go in the hallway and go straight to the teller, pay the house rent. And she's like, let's go and eat. Eating was not a problem, I can assure you. To me, eating was not a problem. Even if I was feeling the pain was 100, I had to eat. Ate, did more shopping for the baby. We went back home. We were coming back home around 4. So coming back home 4, my mom calls my aunt and she's like, well, I think kame ime panda. Then my aunt comes and looks at me and she's like, hapana sidhani. Fanya hivi, take a hot shower, eat food, then I'll come back at 7. She comes back at 7. She induces me Buscopan on my left hand. She tells me, this one will help open your cervix. Me, I'm like, cheers, acha ningoje nisikie. At that time, we used to have these soap operas. Bado, I gave birth kitambo kidogo. We still didn't have digital boxes. Bado tulikuanga na story ya aerials. So we were watching some soap on the TV. I can't remember what the name of the soap is. So, I mean, this is seriously killing pain. But at the same time, I want to watch the soap. I have the tube here. And at that moment, I gave birth when a lot of things were happening around our compound. We had lost one of our neighbor's wife. So you see everybody, kila mtu ako nje kwa matanga. We live in a flat, so ukiteremka chini, everybody's there. So you see, I really have to compose myself. So I decided I'm going to watch the soap. Masaa zikisonga songa, we'll see what we'll do. By the time it was reaching 12, I was like, Mom, I'm done. We have to go. I literally walked from my place to the hospital. It wasn't that far. But for me, I was like, I don't even have time. Kabla muite taxi. Oh, I don't know. I'm gone. I told my mom, I'm walking, I'm going. At the stairs, I met some of my neighbors, my immediate neighbor. And I talked to her like it was normal. I was not having any pain. I was just okay. Like, hi, how are you? Uko aje? Mko wazima? Bado mjukuu hajakuja? She's like, yeah. So, at this point, it's around 12 a.m. Nikiteremka stairs, I met some of my neighbors wametoka from the funeral hapo chini. So I talked to them as normal. Hi, how are you? I'm fine. And they're like, kwani huyu mtoi hajakam. And moving fast forward, my first pregnancy, I was so big. Walianza kunihesabia, I'm giving birth at 7 months. Anyway, nilikuwa naambiwa, huyu mzee ataanguka kesho. And sasa hiyo, I am 7 months pregnant. Please note, I still have 2 more months. So, I was one of those people, unakaa na mimba kila mtu anakulizanga, guy, bado. So, reaching to Pumwani Maternity Hospital, my friend. I had no idea. Please note that what I was getting myself into. I am this naive that I never even looked up at the internet. Mtu akizaa, like what happens. I was just green. Dama huyo ameingia. First of all, my water did not break. So I'm in pain, but my water hasn't yet broken. Reaching Pumwani, my aunt receives me. And she's like, they are all excited. My mom was too excited to a point she didn't even want to go back home. But now, she had to go back home. Juu alikuwa anawasumbua. So nimeingia, I'm being given an option. After you've already been checked how many centimeters you've dilated and all that, I think I was around 4 centimeters. No, skia bado niko mbali. So my aunt is like, let me call a doctor to come and break your water. And then she's like, I don't think we need to stay for long waiting for the labor to come. Why don't we just induce you? Mi najua kuindusiwa ni nini? I'm like, yes, quickly, haraka upesi. The doctor comes, breaks my water. I tell you, if there's any pain I've ever felt, it's the moment that water broke. I felt like my brain was cold, now it has become warm. Kauchungu kenye nilifeel. Then, I was induced to the drip water on my hand. That thing is crazy, but trust you me, I love it. That thing is crazy. I'm telling you, that thing was so much pain. I was in so much pain to a point I could not stretch my hand and take a bottle of water across me. All this time I've been laboring, nilikuwa na a light juu yangu, lakini mimi nilikuwa kwa giza. Mimi siwezi explainia. Mimi masaa yote nilikuwa tu kwa giza, nilikuwa naona darkness. So here I am, I'm in pain. Apparently, in my days of giving birth, ilikuwa zile siku people used to pay to give birth in Pumwani. So, when you give birth in Pumwani in those days, I don't know if things change right now, if you've teared, you have to be shonward to be made. So, kuna kwanga na wale wanawake wanakwanga wenda wazimu wana decide, they will not do it. So, in Pumwani those days, uko unatoka labor ward. Since umekata, utakaa huko until ile day utadecide, oh yeah, but I'm done staying in this labor ward. Nataka kushonwa niende. Or you get, I think, a lawyer or something, consent papers to say, whatever will happen to you. So, kwenye nimeenda the last I think ni kama 2 rooms or 2 phases. The last phase, there was one lady who had refused. Akona mtu mbigi kama wa 1 month, mtu yako anambaka nywele, mpaka kicheko steady. So in my head I'm like, why are you refusing? Like, what is your problem? Just do it. And so despite my pain, nilikuwa na kaidi. Uchungu kisha namwangalia na sikia kumuuliza, lakini ni nini nakusumbua shwali? Mbona unakata? On my next bed, there was a lady giving birth to her second baby. So unaona, huyu anajua what is in store. Mimi sijui ni nini inaendelea. Kando yangu, there was another lady giving birth, I think, to her 4th child. She was telling me this is her 4th child. So I'm seated there, I'm saying, guy, huyu ameanza kufungukana. Kwanza anashindwa, why are they removing their clothes? I was like, what is wrong with these people? Awanionei haya. Why are they removing their clothes? Because I still had clothes on. Zaju. Hey, after some time, this one has removed all of her clothes. She's even walking around naked. I'm like, well, she must be in real pain. For someone to walk naked, imemfika. After some time, my opposite neighbor anaona akishit. I'm like, what is wrong with you? What are you doing? I was so naive. At some point in Likwanacha, I stopped my pain and observed other people, what they are doing. Like, my surrounding was very interesting. Please note, I'm still laboring. Before I noticed, I saw this one, the baby is like coming. I had never seen such a thing in my life. I sat down and looked at her and I was like, oh my God, something is coming out of her coochie. Come and see. Kujeni bwana, something is coming. So my aunt is coming looking at me and she's like, mbona umeshtuka? What is wrong with you? In my head, I'm like, guys, so this is what is going to happen to me. And I'm like, Niko serious? Did I really want this? Is this what I really bargained for? Within minutes, her baby comes out. Hivyo tu, just like, ni kama miujiza, ilikuja ikakuja, the baby is there. And me, I'm just like, wow, okay, ni sawa. Then she's being told, oh, mami, kabibi kako ni kadogo, kako 2 kgs, so anapelekwa nursery. Najiuliza, what is a nursery? Kwani kuna kuanga na nursery tena ya watoto wadogo? I'm still continuing with my pain. Before I know it, I think I was induced 2 bottles for my son, 2.5 for my son. By the time I was realizing it, I think I was ready to give birth. So ile mi najua mtu, because you know when people scream, mi naona if you scream, you're in serious pain. For sure mtu akipiga nduru she's dying. So in my head I was like, mi sijafika wa kuscream. Nikianza kuscream, nitajua nimefikia hapo. Before I knew it, my baby was set. That's how I give birth. Just like that to my son. Like mchezo. Ni anafikiria it's time for me to scream. By the time I know it, my aunt is like, the baby has crowned. Aya, do 1 more push. My boy is out. I was in pain, but I think, again, I was so naive. In my head, I was like, I want to see my son. This is my first baby. He is our first grandchild. Even my aunt is excited that I'm giving birth. So the moment mtoto alitoka, she left me and with another doctor to go and admire the baby. So I'm here being neat, and she's nasikia akisema aki ni cute, ako na dimples. In my head, I'm like, I want to see. Sitaki kujua what is going on underneath. Because I think along the way, when I was giving birth, they were telling me my kaway is small, my baby cannot pass. So they came and explained to me and told me they'll have to tear me. But at that time, I didn't care. I was just like, please, feel free. Kata yote. So I've been knitted. Again, nilizaa siku zenye watu walikuwa nalipa pumwani. Mama Kori akabebwa, nikapelekwa delivery ward. Delivery ward, we have people who have stayed there for 4 months. Yes, those days, 4 months. Mse alizaa, akalea baby, since hakuna mtu mwenye alikuwa kumlipia do, so they stay there during those days. So people are sleeping like two in the bed. At some point, they alter change. You sleep with the babies, then after some time, I sleep with the babies. And they were okay living in the hospital because even their husband used to come and visit them. It was normal for them. So here I am, I've given birth. I gave birth around 3:40 a.m. in the morning. My partner that time, I hadn't even told him that I was in labor. My mom had this crazy myth that when you tell the father of the baby you're going to give birth or you're in labor, the labor usually disappears. So I kept quiet. So in the morning, immediately when I gave birth, my aunt called my mama, akamwambia, Dama has gotten the baby. So my mom called my husband that time. Mtoto amezaliwa. So yeye ako kwenye huko, he's too excited. 5 am alikuwa hapo Mwani. He's not visiting us saa 7, so itabidi amekula bench kidogo hapo. So around 10, since I'm just around the neighbor, kwetu ni across the fence, I was brought tea and all that. My mom was restricted to come in because they knew akiingia ni hivyo hata toka tena. Watu wamefunguliwa. My mom, my grandmother, my sisters, my dad, even the father of the baby could not get a chance to see the baby. Everybody was excited about the baby. And it was just let me say, it was a new life. Now it was now like a new chapter. Everybody came. So that evening, my aunt noticed my son was yellow. He was a bit yellow. But he told me it won't be something very serious. The following day, I was discharged. Went back home. Please not have been knitted huko chini. Went back home. Again, I was so naive. I didn't know what I was getting myself into. So going back home, hizo siku zingine nikiwa na mimba, I've been eating like someone who's from, I think, in the desert. So I never got to shit while I was giving birth. So I come back home. My friend, I'm supposed to kutoa mzigo. How is it going to pass? That is the answer. To be or not to be. Anytime I felt like doing that thing, first of all, I used to tear up because now imagine the pain I'm going to feel. Then I used to eat stones, which are not very good when you're pregnant because they have an after effect. So my shit was like those stones. Please not, nimeshaona, it's supposed to pass there. I think if there's any time now, that time I appreciated my mom, but I get to appreciate her later. If there's any time nilijua mama yako ni mama yako, it's that time. My mom used to tell me, bend, I will remove it one by one. We even bought a special spoon for that stuff. I've given birth, my child had jaundice. So the third day, my son was all yellow. I can't tell you what happened, but my son was everywhere. My son was yellow. His eyes, his mapengo, everywhere. And it really saddened me because you see, I'm a first time mom. Everybody is excited about the baby. I'm worried. So we somehow we have a link of doctors in our family. My mom was told, hakuna haja mtoto apelekwe hospitali, awekwe the UV rays. What you do, tupa mtoto nje. Aki, I've just given birth. It's my new baby. I still want to hide my baby, watu wasimuone. Guy, sweetie, I never got that chance. Day 2, alikuwa ametupwa nje, kwenda kuanikwa. With my mom, who knows best. Toa nguo zote mtoto with the kamokonyo. Oh, I didn't tell you. When I was in the hospital and I was given the baby, I don't know how naive I was. I thought wanakujanga when the umbilical cord is okay. So when I'm in the hospital bed, I'm looking at my son and I get to see that stuff. I almost fainted. I held my baby like this. When my mom came, I was like, something is wrong with her tummy. It is not right. So my aunt told me, oh, they come like that. And I was like, oh my God. No one ever told me such stuff. I was that naive. Then I didn't know you're supposed to counter check your child, whether akona 5 feet, whatever. Although I didn't know. So when my mom came with my grandmother, immediately they prayed. I come from Western, so we believe in you pray for the baby, you speak good stuff for the baby, then you all hold the baby. Immediately they finished praying. They removed my son's clothes and I'm like, what is wrong with you guys? He's just new. And mom is like, have you counted his feet? And they are counting literally. Have you checked if he has an asshole? Who? I had not even seen my child uko. But ao ni nani? Leave me. They're like, she needs to open his mouth to see if he is tongue-tied or something. I'm like, what are you guys doing? Even the father of the baby is just seated. Yani hakuna say hapo. So hizo zote happened in the hospital. So I'm back here. I can't hide my child. Ametupwa nje na nilikuwa na mama yangu hawajua. My mom removed all the curtains in the house because the baby needs sunlight. Then after 3 days, my aunt came to check on me. And my aunt discovered that where they had knit in the center, some Uzis had teared. If it happens right now, my fellow future husband, you will have to abide with me because I will not go back again. Sweeties, I didn't know what I was getting myself into again. So my aunt tells me we have to redo your stitches. And I'm like, sawa, twende. This is day 3. Please note. I'm like, cheers, twende. In fact, nitakuja. Mimi ni nani? Women champion. Woman fighter, Wonder Woman. Tajera, Mugu, Pumuani. I did not know what I'm getting myself into. Nikaingia nikaambiwa toa nguo ulale hapo. Confidently. Sini stitches 3. I mean 3. My friend, they teared all the stitches, including the ones they had done. If there's any pain I've ever felt, that one is even painful than childbirth. The pain I felt that day, I even told her, ningejua. I was okay kukaa kama Thika Road. Ningepata charger inatoshana na hiyo place. Boss, the pain I felt. It was extremely painful because they had to remove the stitches to see if there's an infection. Hakuna anesthesia unapewa hapo. Please not in day 3. They teared all of them. They redoed them again. When I went back home, I didn't even want to see that child that I had given birth. Nilikuwa nasikia uchungu. Was like, Mom, it's okay, ni wako. Ni sawa. Corey was a quiet baby. Over and due, after some time, I healed. But apparently, they had to stretch more of my skin. So it was a bit, they even told me it's going to be a bit tight and painful. And the healing process will take time. Please note, I'm still having some difficulties with my stool. So I had to, sikuanga na job to kama stool stuff tena hizo siku. I was so naive. Very naive. So after like 3 months, I went for a check and it was okay. But they told me it was a bit ilishonwa kando kidogo. They had to pull more meat. So it will be a bit painful if I ever again engage myself in trying to get another baby or something like that. So after like, I think 4 months, Corey was a quiet baby. Trust you me, Corey was a very quiet baby, very still baby. I think he only cried colic for like 2 weeks and then kept quiet. He used to sleep the whole day. And you couldn't even know that house there was a baby who was born. No, everything was okay. So after like 9 months, I decided I want to go and get a family planning. Again, naive. Nikaenda Pumuani because I still did my clinics at Pumuani for the child. And I breastfeeded 6 months exclusive. No water, no nothing. I was like, what? Tuliambiwa na daktari 6 months. So 6 months, something I can't do. 6 months. So after 9 months, I go to the hospital. The man is like, what wanekwa family planning? And I'm like, do I really want it? Do I really need it? My mom is like, anyway, you never know, ni mwili yako, sitemeki na wewe, mtoto amekuwa mkubwa. I'm like, let me give it a shot. I'm like, watu wanawekwa nini? She's like, wanawekwa IUD. And I'm like, IUD ni nini? I'm that naive. She's like, ni coil. I'm like, she's like, hata mimi niliweka. I'm like, sawa, twende niwekwe. Mimi nikaingia. Mimi najua ni nini naenda kufanywa. Sina habari. Naambiwa madam, kalia hapo. I'm like, kwani coil imekwanga wapi? Naambiwa coil imekwanga huko kwenye baby alitokelezea. I'm like, since I have already decided, si ukishatoa nguo unataka kuoga. Maji ukishaweka lazima ufanye nini? Like, cheers baba. Feel free. Nilitoka hapo, even my own mom was like, I can never do that. And I'm like, and you let me do it. You sat here and watched me walk there. And anashinda kiniuliza, unasikiaje? Unakasikia? Yani my mom was, mimi ndo nilikuwa the guinea pig, the experiment. She's like, in all of my 50 years over my dead body, I can never do that thing. I'm like, nishafanya. And I stayed with that thing for like how many years? 5 years. Sijawachocha. I did for 12 years. Champe. Mimi nizae. Nijikute. Nilikuwa ya 12 years. I was very good. Nilikuwa na family planning inaweza. 12 years ndo nilikuwa nizae tena. So after like some time, my boy grew. Though my boy was a bit slow. I don't know why, but my child was slow. My child walked with 1 year, 12 months. 1 year, 3 months is when my boy started walking. Everything was okay. He talked at an early age. The teeth came out okay, but my child was not walking. So I reached a point I was okay with it. I was like, atatembea ile siku anataka kutembea. Plus, again, I have this African mother alikuwa akiniambia nataka atembea aende wapi. So hata mtu akiniambia namwambia anaenda wapi? Atatembea siku atatembea kama ni miaka 3. He'll walk. So my son walked with 1 year, 3 months. We stayed for some time. Now, my second baby, my friends. My second baby. You know how people say you have a relationship with God? My second baby made me sit at the laps of God. You see, when you have a baby, they say it's a new life you're starting. New life doesn't necessarily mean the life that is growing in you. My second baby at this time, I had already moved in with the baby daddy. Bado baba ya Kori. I know, watu wanakuwa na maswali when you have 2 kids. Wako na baba moja, ni wa baba moja. Bado the first father. I decided I want to get married and do things the right way. Shui, mini champe, I still have my coil. So I stayed with him for like 3 years without getting pregnant. Then I just reached a point and he was like, I think it's about time. He used to tell me and I'm like, I miss hizi shika mimba pana. Went and removed my coil. When I was there, I decided, daddy hapana, hutaniharakisha hivyo. Nipatie option B. Was given pills. Me, I hear stories of people saying, oh, nikikuwa na pills nitasahau. Dama did not forget any day. Mimi nisahau pills niko na wazimu. Ai hapana. I never forgot even one. So after some time, I think the universe inafikanga mahali ina agree na maombi zingine. He used to pray and tell me he'd want to get another child. So after some time, my pills just started backfiring on me. All of a sudden, I'm spotting, just having issues with them. Then at some point, I had pains with my tummy. When I went to the hospital, I was told like, unajua unaweza kuwa na signs and symptoms za fibroids. My mom is like, na si uzae huyo mtoto unaambiwanga uzae. Ni nini? I'm like, sawa, wacha nikajaribu. So I was still in denial. Like, I'm like, bado ninataka ama sitaki. So kuna masiku nina meza, kuna masiku simezi, unajua ile. Na mimi ni champe. Because the first month nilikuwa na mezanga leo na kosa. Still I received my period. So I was like, mimi ni mnoma kwa hii. In October, nilijua mimi si mnoma. October katikati, in the middle of October in 2017, I had this flu. I got a flu. This flu was so severe, I didn't know it's the other flu. Very severe. So I was still doing those games that I do today. Swallow today, I don't swallow. I reached a point and I asked myself, what type of flu is this? That in the morning, it really makes me sick. But I am shivering. Pana. No. Let me go and check this flu. I got it. It's the bigger flu. The one for 9 months. I was like, anyway, it's okay. At this point, you see, I have decided, like, this time I'm like, this is a baby that I wanted, that we both wanted. Because my first one alikuwa tu lewa, amekaa msawa tuende. Now this one is a baby we both wanted. And at this time, the job I was doing ilikuwa imeisha, so I had decided to venture into other stuff. And at this point, my partner at that time, let me say my husband at that time, was the one doing everything, most of the stuff. So we were like 50-50. Mimi nitaenda ni hawk, nikipata, nikikosa, haina shida. So he's like, wow. And remember that day, when I discovered I was pregnant, it was on a Saturday. So in the evening, we used to live around our in-laws. We went to visit our in-laws. So on the way, I told it, well, there, I discovered I have the 9 months flu. He's like, haina shida, it's okay. I had carried our son. He's like, give me the boy, I'll carry the boy. You don't need to carry this boy again. Now you see, nimemwambia niko na mimba tu immediately. Kama wiki 3, washaanza kubehave special. Leta mtoto. I'm like, ama tupande gari. I'm like, no, tutatembea. We reached in the house. He is so excited. Started typing the stuff we need. We need a baby cot. We need angake, the things we never did for this one. Oh, blah, blah, blah. And me, I'm like, cheers, baba. Nimeenda kulala. In the morning, it was on a Sunday. You see, there are things that I came to learn. God prepares you unconsciously. That Sunday when I went to church, there was an altar call. And I just felt something pushing me like, maybe you also need to go to that altar and just tell God. Like the way Hannah dedicated the child, maybe you need to dedicate this child to God. So me, I went and told God, nimekuwa nikitaka mimba, nimekuwa nikitaka mtoto. Sasa tumeamua kunipea Mungu aki mimi sijui what is ahead, because I remember that prayer was a sorrowful prayer. I told God, I don't know what's ahead of me, but whatever is ahead, I hope you give me strength. Let me tell you, that was in October. I went back home. Everything was okay. Nothing was wrong. But along the way, things just started happening. First of all, I went home in December with my mom in Western, in Kitale. Maji ya huko mimi nikaona mimi ni champe. Maji tu. Ai. Maji. Ai. Na nasikia kiu. Kwa nini ningoje tununue maji? Chota maji nitakunywa. My mom is like, nitashikwa na malaria. I'm like, hii maji ni ya kwetu. Mimi ni yetu. Nikakunywa maji, half a glass. Come back to Nairobi in January. I was sick. Literally sick. I got so sick. In my head, I knew it's morning sickness. But one evening, when my husband came akaniambia, what type of morning sickness prolongs until at night? Hata kama umebeba mtoto, hii hapana. You need to go to the doctor. Called my in-law at that time. We went to the hospital. Nilifika hospitali, nikaitiwa wamama, wale manases, unajua kuna huanga na wale social worker. Ungefikiria I've done an offense. By that time, I think I was 4 and a half months pregnant. And they were like, wewe unafaa uitiwe nyumba 10, ushikwe, kwa sababu nimekuwa kwa nyumba. I was pregnant. Niko na malaria, iko plus. My baby is very small in my tummy. Mimi naambia niko na mimba ya miezi 4, lakini ananiambia yeye akishika anaona hata kuna kitu ina grow. She's like, this baby is like a 2 months baby, and you're telling us it's 4 months. I was underweight, I didn't have blood, I didn't have water. Yani ilikuwa tu by then nifungiwe kwa hospitali. Sasa juu sasa yenyewe nilikuwa nimepita kila kitu, vitu zote mbaya. Then I pleaded with her and I was like, I'll start becoming to the hospital. So I was given malaria drugs. I had malaria when I was pregnant. I was given malaria drugs, went back home, took them. Nikajaribu kumeza hizi dawa za kuboost damu and whatever. At some point I was like, to hell, ya kweli si kumeza and survived. Mimi ni champe, this is the second baby. Now, this is in January. In January, I had a bit of issues. We had a bit of, let me say, a transformation with our setup of the house. We introduced another member in the house. So things were just okay. But along the way, let me tell you guys now. You remember the prayer I told you I had prayed? You pray, there are things God prepares you. Any aujui, but something is going to happen that will change everything in your life. When I was pregnant with my daughter, I think I usually tell people, if I never died in 2018, trust you me, nobody can die. And this one, I think, is to tell someone, no matter what you're going through, trust you me, things usually, at the end of the day, things usually settle. That time when I was pregnant, along, I think in March, in February, we were auctioned. My husband's work haikukua. Sikukua na job pia mimi, I was just doing hawking. So in the process, we got auctioned our house stuff. And these are stuff that we really worked hard for. You know, ile vitu unajinyimanga ukianza nyumba. Everything that we sweated for, we were auctioned. That day, I think I cried and cried. For my daughter, I cried all throughout the pregnancy. I cried. Even my tears could not help me. We had to relocate to a smaller house. I remember that time is the time that I knew if you have your mother or your family members in this world, my friend, family is the most important thing you can ever have. My mom helped us out, moved into a smaller house. But my trouble was just beginning. Moved into a smaller house with my son. Everybody left us, in short. Let me just say, everybody who was close to us left us. It's like, walijua tunanuka shida. Everybody left us. And you see, I'm pregnant with the second child. Then after moving to a smaller house, I don't know, this child just decided now it is her turn to show me that I don't even know anything. Please note, my first pregnancy had no issues. In fact, people used to tell me that when I was pregnant, nilikuwa nasikia nauseated, nasikia kutapika, nashindwa kukula. I'm like, kwani mlikuwa mmebeba nini? I took back my words. I was sick from the first month with my second child, I think, to the last. And issues I had, the malaria issue, leave it alone. That was just a walk in the park. My daughter was not growing. I cannot tell you why she was not growing. She reached a point, she never even used to move in my tummy. I don't know what was wrong with this girl, but she just decided she will not move in my tummy. She will not kick. She won't do anything. She was just a seated baby. Then at some point, along 6 months, one morning, I just started bleeding. I don't know why I'm bleeding. I cannot explain to you the cause of bleeding because it was just hectic. I'm just bleeding. And it was on a Sunday whereby you don't expect to get doctors around. So I go to the hospital and being told, where tutakushika? Where utakuja kesho ufanye scan tujue. The following day I'm going to do a scan. They're like, your baby is just fine, lakini mama mtoto haja grow venye anafaa kugrow na hizi miezi, alafu mtoto hamove. Mtoto amekaa tu mahali moja. Sasa mimi nashindwa. Sasa mkishaniambia hivyo mnataka niwaambie nini? You know, like, what do these doctors want you to tell them? And it continued like that. All the time I used to have issues. Nilikuwa nikienda naambiwa heartbeat haisikiki. Then unajua you can even just know something is wrong because unaona mwenye amesikia heartbeat hajasikia, anaenda anaita mwingine, pia mwingine anakuja anafanya testing, anaona bebe hapa. And then unaanza kuambiwa na mama mtoto kama amekufa unaweza kasirika. I'm like, kwa nini ni jam na amedai? Like, what more can I do if the baby is dead? Like, what am I supposed to do? So I'm just like, mimi niko sawa. Unaona wanakuja wanakucancel, wanakuambia unajua si saa zingine mtu unabebanga mimba alafu mtoto anatoka, maneno inafanyika. Ingine inakuanga tu mpango ya Mungu. So in case of anything, we want to encourage you. I'm just like, is the baby dead or alive? Like, that's my main point. I don't even want to know. Nilikuwa nishazo ya bad news by the way. So the bad news continued and continued to a point. There's a day I went to the hospital and they were like, mama na unaweza kubali kuoshwa tumbo kama mtoto? And I'm like, wapi karatasi ya kusaini? Kwa sababu nilikuwa nimechoka na wao kushinda wakiniambia mama unajua ni mpango ya Mungu. I'm like, and Sifa continued being a crazy baby to hivyo wakukosa kukick, saa ingine inamwaga maji bure. Yani I was okay with bad news. So until I reached around 8 months. For my first baby, I never had a baby shower. We were that naive. When I tell you Sifa is a miracle baby, around 7 months, I lost everything. And when I say everything, I mean everything I've ever valued, everything I've ever, placed my heart in it. I lost my marriage. I lost my house. I lost everything like a joke. Yani, my world crumbled. And I just remained standing there. I went home to visit my mom, and that is how my marriage ended. I cannot explain to you how. It's a story for another day, but that is just what happened. I lost everything. So I'm here. I'm back home with my mom. I'm stuck. Now I can't see na nyumba by this one and happy. I'm back home with my mom and my son and my tummy with the crazy baby inside. This time I'm 7 months. I'm thinking I don't have money. The only money I think I had saved at that time was around 4,000. And it's even God because I wanted to go and pay a down payment at a maternity hospital nearby. And you see, I had these plans of, I want to give birth. My husband will be there. We will cut the umbilical cord. Dreams. He'll be there to rub my back. I tell you. Dreams. So at this point, I'm like, I have 4,000. Nimerudi home. I have another child. So nitafanya aje? I'm like, I'll go with the flow. So with this 4,000, I tried shopped a few things. Then this is the point where, let me tell you, you lose everything you valued. This point, in around April, my dad was working in another country. I won't mention the name. So someone called my mom one morning and told me, Mom, Wallace is dead. Now that's my dad. And my mom tried reaching that number and no one picked the call. So a few weeks later, I went to see my mom. And my mom is like, I want to tell you something. We had a shop in town. And don't you dare scream. You see, we are lawyers. When you're told anything of death, you have to pig island oro. She's like, if you dare scream, I will get out of this shop and say you're mad. She's like, I was called and told your dad is dead. I'm like, Mom, what are you telling me? She's like, So when I was going back home, we discovered that my dad had gotten some wrong medication that made him like kind of went into a coma. So when he woke up, the only thing alijua can save him put me in a bus that will take me to Kenya and land me in town. From there, I know my wife's shop. So mimi nimerudi nyumbani. My dad pia amerudi nyumbani, alikuwa mgonjwa. And my dad, please note, is an African man, a Western man, mweusi tititi, mkubwa, amerudi nyumbani, anakaa Mwarabu juu alipewa madawa. Sasa watu ungefikiria amekuwa Mkongole, amekonda. Yani, some changes too in life that you wonder. My dad is in the house, I am in the house. My elder sister is having issues with her marriage. Kila mtu anapigianga mamangu, mama leo huyu mwanaume ameniambia, mama leo hivi. Mimi nimekuja na tumbo yangu hapa, mtoto mwenye uagongangi. Even my own mom sazingine ananiambia, ukifanya unasikia kama kuna harufu mbaya, anaweza kuwa amekufa. I'm like, siski. My mom is like, wacha tungoje tuone. So I come back home. My dad is homesick. My sister, where she was working, she's having troubles. Pia na job. So we are like, hey, okay, what will happen? My mom is like, wacha tungoje tuone venye Mungu atasema. Agents wa nyumba tajira. Agent wa nyumba anapumzikanga. Alikuwa anakuanga kila siku. Every morning we used to fight with the agent. I don't know why. I really miss those time. Agent sasa tukikutana na yeye tupigane akianga tutapelekana police station. Kila asubuhi tulikuwa tunapigananga na agent. Kila asubuhi ndonoto. Mpaka anamwambia, hii nyumba tulilipa deposit ya 3 months. Ni nini? So ikakuwa hivyo. Now I told you this is the moment I sat at God's laps. You see, I had nothing. I literally had nothing. The only person I had that time was myself, my mom, and my family, my sister. Especially my younger sister. She was really, really there. She became my husband. So I used to pray to God and tell God, sasa huyu mtoto nitamuvalisha nini? Nilizaa 6 years ago. Because I spaced kiasi. No one told me about kuzaa kama panya. I wish you guys would have told me that. So in the process, one day I got a referral to another hospital kwenda kuangaliwa why I was oozing water. They wanted to know more. So my mom is like, huwezi enda peke yako. And before that, just moving back, when I was around, I think 7 months, because I was having some serious marital issues. So one morning I woke up and I used to cry. I won't lie to you guys. I used to cry. To me, I'm an emotional person. So mimi niliamkanga tu siku moja nikaanza vita na my husband and I was like, baby, mimi akibisi sitaweza hii maisha. Mimi nikatoka, nilikuwa na slippers. I don't think I had even shoes. Nikatoka, we used to live along Ngong Road. So nikiwa nimesimama hapo nje in greenhouse. I used to live somewhere around greenhouse. These women, they were getting out of the car. And this woman asked me, why are you crying? Because I don't look like a homeless person. Unaona, I am okay, niko na meals, niko na nywele, ni viatu sina. She's like, have you been robbed? Nikamwambia no. Akaniuliza, why are you crying? I tried explaining to her, but I could not because my emotions were so much. And she just held me and hugged me and told me, stop crying. And then I kind of hinted what I was going through. And she's like, keep quiet. Even this baby, you'll give back to the baby. Keep quiet. Keep quiet. Go and come and see me after some time. I will hook you up with a doctor who will help you. So now I was going to this hookup of this doctor that I was given. So on reaching there, these people discover my blood is very small, like really low. I really had low blood count on my body that they were telling me the baby hata haezi inafanya hata mtoto inakuwa ngumu kusonga and all that. Then I had to improve my eating. My baby was underweight and at this time I was 32 weeks. My baby was around 800 grams. Tule tumkate tuwili to 400 grams. Imagine. Hey, my mom was like, hapana dama. Hata kama mambo imekuwa mingi, hapana. You see, you cannot lose everything. My mom used to tell me, you cannot lose everything. You need at least to have one thing that will count. So I was given drugs, supplements, went back home. And I was excited for this baby at first. But you see, along the way, I was just going with the flow. Me, we used to go for scans. It is my mom who will ask those questions that a mother should ask. My mom is like, what is this? My mom was the one who was asking those questions. Me, I was just like, then I was like, Miss Tower, bora atoke, mi sina shida. So that day, when I was still married, let me say that, when I was still married, I joined a group of women, a bit elder women than me, and some of my age, but I think I was among the young people. So those women really used to pray for me. They knew what I was going through. And I learned in life, it is important you hook yourself with people. It's very important. Don't care about the age. You need to have a supporting group. So these women did the most amazing thing. I don't know how I'll ever thank them. These women just decided, by the way, Dama has gone through a lot. Dama has lost her marriage, has lost her house. We need to do something for her. They did me a baby shower. Guess what? All the prayers I usually pray to God, I'm like, Mungu sina besheni ya mtoto. Sasa besheni nilikuwa najiambia naweza tumia kori. Sina ndoo, Mungu sina manguo ya mtoto, sina diaper, Mungu nitafanya aje. That day I've gone to the hospital. I've been told all kind of bad news. Mtoto sijua kwa 800 grams, blah, 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 and all that. This lady calls me and tells me, leo tuko na fellowship. Make sure umekuja. Mimi nakaa najiambia, aki Mam Liz. Mimi nataka fellowship kweli mimi sahi. Mimi sinataka tu niende nikae kwa nyumba nihuzunike tu akisho. She's like, no. In fact, there's a woman who's going to come and pick you. She's called June. Mom June. Go. You need to go. And for sure, me, I don't know. That woman was patient with us. Alikuja na akatuchukua with my mom. Sasa mamangu ananiambia, my mom didn't know what's up. My mom is like, why sisi tupewe lift mpaka town kutoka kwa duka tuambie adios mchako. I'm like, sawa. Sasa along the way mamangu alihintiwa what was going on. So pia akanitoka. She's like, hapana, tuende tuombe Mungu. Me, I'm like, tulielewana tukifika kwa duka tunawatoka. I'm even talking to her in my native language. I'm like, what's wrong with you? She's like, no, Dama lazima tuende tuambie Mungu asante. Kasema anyway, sasa mamangu ashanisaliti, sasa tuende tu na yeye, sina option. It was a surprise baby shower. It was so nice. For a minute, let me tell you guys, niliachana na shida yangu kidogo. I just enjoyed the moment. And those ladies prayed for me. Aki, if there are people who prayed for me, it's those mamas and girls. They really, really, really prayed for me. One of them used to contact me and ask me, na Dama ni nini haujanunua ya mtoto? Mimi namwambia, aki Neli, mimi naona bado sijanunua 1 2 3, but kuna watu nilihok nataka kuwadai madeni zangu wanipatie. She's like, Dama Mungu atakufungulia njia. So she's the one, everything I used to tell her sijanunua, anaenda anaambia hawa. And they bought. Going back home that day, my dad is like, na nyinyi mlienda hospitali na mkaenda kabisa, because I left my dad with my younger son. And my mom is like, tulienda tatu wakutana na Mungu, explained to her. My dad is like, we thank God. I stayed, I'm like, God, they have bought me this set. So, Jesus, hii group ya pili, Jehovah Jireh, mimi natoa wapi hizi vitu zimebakia? In my head, I'm thinking, my aunt alitolewa, alikuwa transferred, the one who helped me give birth to my first son. She was transferred to Mbagathi, Ngong Road. Sasa mimi niko Isili, who will help me? Pumwani siku hizi kuzaa ni free. Kila mtu anaingianga huko. I'm like, anyway, God, I will cross the bridge when I reach there. So one day to, like, let me say a week to my mom started like, you need to be talking to one of your friends, blah, blah, blah. You need to contact Jackie. And Jackie was a childhood friend. If there's anything I have learned, there's nothing as important as maintaining friendship. Ujuangi munasaidiana aje in life. Any friendship you get, you need to value it. You need to water it. And we relate with people differently. But friendship is so important in life. You cannot stay alone. You're not an island. I usually tell people, even an island is not alone. Yo vumbi na mchanga maji ukuje inamwagika inapita. So this is my childhood friend. I schooled with this girl from nursery, baby class. And a few months before me coming like to my mom's house, we were attending another childhood friend's wedding. So when we were there, that time I was having crazy marital issues. Where? Crazy ones. So I meet with this friend and she's looking at me. She keeps asking me, Dama uko show kwa sa? I'm like, me niko poa. So anyway, jipaka my makeup, niko na katumbo. I'm trying to pretend I'm not acting my problems, but in my heart, I'm really thinking. So I remember even at the reception, at the wedding procedure, when the pastor preached, Me, I was crying. Me, aki sijui nilikuwa nalianga nini. Mi nilikuwa tu nalia. Sasa kila mtu around me anaona aki I'm so happy about this friend of mine. Aki tajira. Mi aki nalia tu shida zangu. Matu aki nimetoka nyumbani nimegombana na watu huko. Yani, and my friend afterwards asked me and told me, Dama, I'm seeing like you having a battle. Because she used to tell me, mi aki mi ninaombanga na mi. Sikuizi mi sijumbo na mi ukuombea. Mi nikamwambia tu aendeleanga kuniombea. Because sasa nini nilikuwa nimwambie. And by the end of the day, I had to open up to her because she knew something was wrong. And she told me, I keep on dreaming you're fighting. I don't know why I'm keeping dreaming you're fighting with, I cannot mention some on my marriage side. She's like, Dama, you really need to pray. You really, really need to pray. I'm like, well, I keep praying. Nitaendelea kuomba. So my mom is like, you need to go and visit Jackie. Enda uone Jackie. Jackie naye akacheza kama yeye akaniambia, na Dama si ukuje ulale. Aki nikamwambia, mimi nikuje nilale kwenye una hii mimba. Ako like, Dama kuja ulale. Friday nikaamka and my mom is like, on Saturday niko na chama ya wamama wa Kilunje. So all this time my mom was preparing me, sikukuwa najua cause my mom went in Kitale, came back na makuku. She's like, hizi kuku hizi niko na chama ya wamama, nimeona nikuwe set. I'm like, ni sawa. My mom is like, on Saturday nitakuwa na chama ya wamama. Nikamwambia madhe, sasa unataka niende kwa Jackie nilale Saturday nisikusaidia? Kaniuliza, sasa unaweza nisaidia na kazi gani na hii tumbo? I'm like, sawa. Niende na mtoto? Hapana, acha kori. I left my son and went. On Saturday, Jackie's like, tuende tukasaidia madhe. Niliambia mom tutaenda kuosha vyombo. That was around 3. Sisi hao, mimi na Jackie, tunaenda kuosha vyombo. And then my friend who got married in April was supposed to come hiyo siku. She's like, Nora hata ameniambia akuja naenda Isili. I'm like, Nora mbona unanifanya hivi? You were supposed to come. Jackie's like, Nora amesema naenda Isili atakuja baadaye. Nikamwambia basi apitie home. Sisi hao tumeenda kwa my mom. I reached there. Oh my God. When I tell you family is important. My cousins, my childhood friends. Yani wale mabeshte wenye tu unakuanga tu mabeshte na wao, but yani those people who you do, unaendanga unashawa mse ako na function, unaenda unaibambisha. Sisi kwetu we are a loud family. So hata tukikuja wedding, my friend tunakufanyanga ile maneno vigalagala nini tuna. So there's a friend of mine who tulikuwa tumeenda wedding yake and we really made it lit. I'm like, guy, all these people had gathered together, changad money, did me a baby shower, everything that I did not have that was left, God provided for me on my second baby shower. Then my aunt comes, akaniambia, huyu mtoto ukisikia tu mwa, whether itakuwa CS ama itakuwa normal, I will cater for it. So we kept on, nitwangaje, the baby shower happened, things happened, everything happened, everything was good. Kila mtu akaenda nikawachwa. And I have a friend who gave me a gift voucher. At this point, I think I'll tell you again, I told you I lost everything that I valued. Everything that I've ever worked for, everything that I've ever showered. Yani ilikuwa a new life for sure. At this point, the baby was supposed to come in June. The baby did not come in June. A friend of mine was also pregnant like me. The sister tells me, I'm planning a baby shower for Talia. You guys should come. And she's like, Talia doesn't want a lot of people. So, nyinyi watu mkam hivi. I'm like, ninakuja, but my mom was worried about me. I'm like, but nitakuja na mom. She's like, the many, the merrier. Hata hivyo, Talia was a friend to my mom. Okay. Mimi, my mom, my sister, Karen, went, had a nice baby shower. It was lit for my friend. Then on finishing, she's like, we are also seeing you're pregnant. Now, you'll cut the cake with Talia. And since I did not give you anything for your baby showers, both of them, I'm going to give you something afterwards. That girl gave me a... Yani hiyo siku tulitoka kwa huo beshte yetu with good some amount of money. Tulikuwa na shida ya rent. That money went to the rent. That was on a 7th of July. And she kept on wondering, Dama umesema leo ni due date yako because my due date was 7th. Umeniambia leo ni due date yako. Mbona haukai kama unaumwa? And by then, hiyo siku I was so light. Extremely light. I'll even show you the photos. I was very light. I was jumping, dancing around. She's like, uko sure mtoto atatoka? I'm like, huyu kama atatoka tu. Come on 9th, mi nikakaa nikaambia my mom, mi bedhe nasikia nimechoka kubeba hii mimba. Juu sasa kama ilikuwa tu akufe atakufa. And when I was around 6 months pregnant, me told God, if I give birth to this baby, God, I'll give you the praise. If this baby dies, I'll still give you the praise. I told God that time when I was around 6 months. That time my child had not kicked for like 1 week. I was not feeling any movement. And I told myself, when I give birth, I'll name this baby Sifa. So, 9th, at night, I decided to take a walk. And as the Lord told me, or the Lord led me, I went straight to my aunt's house in Pumwani. I told him, kale kada unapeanga wa mama wakuza, cheza kama wewe. She's like, uko sure? I'm like, me, I'm done. Sitaki kujua. Ananiambia, Dama, mtoto ako na issues mingi. By the way, if I would give you my book ya kuzaa, mtu alikuwa anafungua hivi ananiambia, hapa hatuoni kama tutakuweza. Anafunga, anapeana. Everybody is like, Ananiambia, mama, wewe utazaa CS. My aunt is like, let's risk it. Me, I'm like, sawa, let's risk it. And on my first baby shower, those women knew what I had gone through. And they used to tell me, the only gift and prayer we're praying for you is you give birth like a Hebrew woman. A Hebrew woman gives birth quick. I don't know wanasemanga ni painless labor. That is my prayer for you. This to tell me that. And even on my second baby shower, June came and told me, Dama, this is my prayer for you. You have cried, you have suffered. We are praying ukifika saa ya kuzaa, kusikwe na mushmush mob. So I went back home and told God, huyu mtoto asiniume zaidi ya 45 minutes because I don't think I'll handle it. I have cried enough. 45 minutes, this baby should be out of my tummy. I was given that tablet. It was told to put half. Who am I? I really wanted this baby out of my body. I did a full tablet under my tongue. I slept around 12. I'm waiting. You know, ile anxiety, game ya kungojea. Nashindwa, kwa nini sisikii uchungu? Why am I not feeling pain? 12, 1. By the time I switched to 2, I think I dozed off. Around 6, I woke up to this crazy cramping pain. In me, I told God, uchungu isiishe. That was my prayer. I kept on talking to God. Aki Mungu, mi uchungu isiishe. What ikuja hata kama ni full blown, I am ready for the pain. I woke up. I think I even left my mama akipanga mavitu sijui anataka kunichukulia leso. Mimi nilimwambia, "Hai wewe tuonane." Nilitoka with a leso and a t-shirt. The way mse ulala, me just tokad with a leso and a t-shirt with slippers. Went to my aunt's in Pumwani. My aunt is like, "Wewe hebu kuja tuangalie." Checking me, I had dilated 4 centimeters. And she's like, uko sure utazalia hapa Pumwani? That place was full that day. We kulikuwa kumejaa hivi. Na yeye akaniambia, mimi siwezi kukuacha hapa na sijui mtoto kutaenda aje because it was ilikuwa patapotea. I was not sure about my second child. She's like, tutaenda Mbagathi. Me, I'm like, sawa. Please note, I am as poor as a church mouse. I only had 5 shillings in my pocket. I'm like, 20. My mom comes and looks at me. My mom is like, don't go to Mbagathi. And anipata ile vibe, usiende. My mom is like, mpaka naambia auntie yangu because my aunt had lost kids. She's like, ukizaa huyu mtoto akufe, si hata kurudisha pia wewe Misri. My mom is like, no. Nikamwambia madhe, nini, wacha mimi niende. Mimi niko sawa, mimi nitaenda. Si uvae nguo. Nikamwambia mimi hata Sonia, navaa nguo ya nini? Mimi na auntie yangu kwa namba 4. Tukapanda tukashuka Luthuli, hata nikamngojea atoe M-Pesa. Vizuri tu na naumwa na slippers zangu. Tukaenda tukapanga line ya Mbagathi na tukapanda matatu. Basi. I'm telling you, mtu alikuwa ananiangalia because I was in so much pain. Nilikuwa nashika the chair, the bus's seat. I was holding that chair. I could have lifted. Yaani nilikuwa na nguvu ya Goliath ya kuinua hiyo kiti na nirudishe na niongee normal after 2 minutes. Mtu alikuwa ananiangalia, unaona paka wananiuliza, uko sawa? Nasikia kuuliza, unaona kama ninakaa niko sawa? I just keep quiet. My aunt is like, tuko karibu kufika. By the time we reach in Mbagathi, my aunt is a midwife. Please note. Si ati ni midwife peke yangu nilikuwa namngojea nizalishe. Kuna line pay namngojea hapo. So she's like, kaa hapo kwa bench na come. Nimekaa kwa bench. My ass cannot sit on that bench. I'm feeling pain. I want to stand. I stood there like 30 minutes for her to check wenye wako kwa line kuangaliwa. And nikikwambia, God is a way maker. Everybody that day was a CS. So hakuna venye wanakaa labor ward. Wote ni CS. Wengine wanaambiwa endeni mtembee, we rudi saa 10, rudi 5. So I remained alone in that ward. Peke yangu. Then, who is God again? There was this, I think, exchanging programs. Some wazungus usually come to Kenya and Kenyan nurses go there. So there was an exchange program that was happening that time in Mbagathi for I think they were Mexican doctors. So My aunt comes and tells them, this is my daughter. She's having the second baby. And these Mexican doctors, they are so excited. They are so happy. They're like, oh, we'll deliver this baby. In my head, I'm just like, ninadungwa dawa ya kuzaa saa ngapi? Ninapasuliwa maji. That was what was clicking in my head. Like, what time are we doing this thing? I want this baby out of my body. I was even telling my aunt, I don't know how, but I just want the baby out. So at around 11 o'clock, 11 a.m., I was induced and my water broke. Corey, I labored while I was in bed. I lied on the bed throughout my labor for my first baby. My second baby. My friend, hiyo kitanda ilikuwa iko na dudu. That bed had insects. I tried sitting on that bed and I was like, I cannot do this. Let me just do it on the floor. I squatted on that floor, and throughout my labor, I kept on calling on the name of God. I kept on telling God, it should not pass 45 minutes. I don't care the pain you're going to give me, God, but 45 minutes, Jesus, is my limit. I won't do beyond 45, God. Sitaeza. I reached a point, my aunt came and told me, unanibona hii simiti umelala chini. Akaniinua kimangoto, and then I was underweight. Poop, akanitupa kwa kitanda. I was like, this sleeping bedside is not even right. Ilikuwa inaniuma. So let me nileke kichwa side ya miguu. Ninaweka kichwa hiyo side. I labored. All this time I had this Mexican doctor. She kept on talking to me, telling me how I am a strong woman. I can do it. In my head I was just like, shut up. To a point I reached and told her, let us keep quiet and meditate. Let us listen to the Lord's voice. Let us keep quiet. Shh. Labored. Like few minutes, like 11:40. My aunt came in. In fact, the doctor was like, guy, the baby. She kept on, she didn't know much of English. She was like, the baby. My aunt comes and she's like, guy, Dama, the baby is here. I did one push for Sifa. I really wanted her out of my tummy. One push, Sifa was out, plus her placenta. Sifa comes out of my body. I felt like, I think everything opened up. My ears, my eyes even started seeing. I even started feeling, I can smell the breath. I give birth, my child is not crying. Again, I was expecting the worst. So who am I? I laid there. My aunt is like, baby Hali. In my head, I'm like, nasi tulikuwa tuna expect vitu kama hizo ama. After a few minutes, Sifa cried on her own. I can't explain that miracle, but Sifa just cried on her own. My sister kept on asking, amekuja. But for some reason, hiyo 11 mpaka 40, she didn't call me. 11:45, my sister calls me. Hiyo saa mtoto wako amelia bado. My aunt was still rubbing the baby. So my aunt ananiekea mtoto kwa chest. My sister calls me. Imagine I've just given birth. Na nilikuwa na nguvu ya to pick the phone and tell her, baby is here. I said baby is here. The baby started crying. Nikarudisha simu. My sister is like, wow, good stuff. Gave birth at 11:45. My friend, when ukiwa na shida, kuna vitu zenye unafanyanga without you knowing. Gave birth 11:45. 2:30 I was in my mom's house. I can't explain to you how. And I was very strong in my mom's house. And I think God alikuwa shajua. I had already had a bad situation in life with my previous giving birth and the healing process. God had already seen how I have suffered throughout this pregnancy, the loss I had gone and encountered. I never had issues with my healing. The only issue I had, on my first child, I never had those stuff of nipple cracking, after birth, tummy pains. With my second baby, where this child used to wake up, she wants to breastfeed, najiuliza huyu anataka kunyonya wapi. It was painful. My nipples cracked. I had cramps for like, I think 3 or 4, 5 days. I had cramps. I stopped bleeding the 3rd day after I've given birth. My aunt was like, no, something is not right. That's why you're having severe cramps. Came, gave me some drugs. It's like now I now had just given birth again. Then I started bleeding all over again, afresh, for a whole 1 week. But over and due, I gave birth to my girl. She didn't cry, but she was, now this is a real miracle, a real testimony. My girl was 800 grams at 32 weeks. I gave birth at 40 weeks. My girl was 3.5 kgs. Siwezi explain aje. And in the process, because I think her kulia, they kind of checked on her. I think they had guarad her eyes. So when we went back home, she used to remove yellow pearls on her eyes. Like for the following, the second day. Now I was wondering, what is wrong with this girl? Why is she removing pearls? And at the hospital, we were given something to put in her eye. So anytime we put that thing, because you say she's not opening her eyes, because you have to put it, so she can't open her eyes. So when you put it, the pearls inatoka a lot. My African mom comes in handy. She's like, during our days, ulikuwa unamwekea maziwa ya matiti. And I'm like, yo, what have you been doing all these 4 days? Leta kijiko. Shui! Nikaekea mtoto my breast milk. That was, I think, the 4th day. By the time we were reaching in the afternoon, my girl's eyes were open, they were clear, there was no pearls. Look at my mom is like, would have done this from day one. And she was just, I think, let me say, she was calm for the past 4 days. Colleague yenye Sifa alinililia. Where? Sifa made me know what motherhood is. Sifa cried almost a month. I remove her clothes, she's still crying. I bathe her at night, she will still cry. I breastfeed her, she will still cry. Sifa cried a whole month. Usiku, nashinanga tu hivi na mtoto. And that time, let me tell you, I was so depressed. I was into depression. I think I was deep into it. I just didn't know. Because my mom used to tell me sometimes I would just hold the baby like this and nanyevia. Mpaka mtoto mkono inaanguka na nimeshika. I've hold the baby. My mom would come and pick the child for me. Sometimes I would hold the baby, I'm breastfeeding the baby, and then I just look at the baby and start crying. I could not explain to you why I was crying. I think it's maybe what I had gone through at that time. And my mom kept on encouraging me and telling me, apana, it's not the end of life. When you lose everything that you have, ujakatwa mikono. And ananiambia, look at Job. She used to tell me, look at Job in the Bible. Job lost everything and God gave Job better stuff. She used to tell me, it's not the end of the world. Niko hapa. Your sisters are here. At the end of the day, you need you more than you need anything. At the end of it all, what I can tell guys is when you're pregnant, I came to learn the best birth partner you can ever have is yourself. First of all, you have to have that confident on yours, as in on your own. You need that inner strength of your own. You don't necessarily need a husband or someone kwanza. You need to, we mwenyewe unafauji uko umejiamini. Then after that, you can have another birth partner alongside you to help you, to walk you through. Because me, I had no one. I literally was alone. I had my mom, and my mom at that time, it reached a point, my family shifted from my pregnancy to what was happening in my life, what was going around me. So at the end of the day, at some point, even me mwenyewe used to even forget her, but then I'm pregnant. Because I was looking at what was going around me. Ma vitu zinaanguka kando yangu, the buildings that were falling, things that I had done that were not working. And so far so good, let me tell you, between my son and my daughter, Sifa has been an unpredictable, amazing child. The drama this girl is doing, right now she's 3 years. Sifa is just amazing. Sifa right now is 3, and I don't think akona all dental kwa meno za mdomo, because I think the downward ndo ziko sawa. The up one, they're like 8, and they just came juicy. All this time amekwanga mapengo. Sifa is short. I personally have full hair, full African hair. Mtoto wangu hana, siambia mtu. Mtoto wangu ana nywele, I don't know why. Haya. Sifa has been my most, let me say, she feeds very, very well. She is a well done baby. Whether it's porridge with sugar, without sugar, with milk, she will take. Ugali with this African mbogas, she will eat. She doesn't bagua. It's like she knew ninazaliwa kwa shida. So she eats very well, sleeps very well. Yani kila kitu kwake is a tick. Unlike my son, wajua yeye alikuwa firstborn. So I bembelezad. He still, up to now, we are still struggling kukula. His appetite is not that. He's picky. He feeds, but he's picky. My daughter does not pick. Sifa walked with 7 months. Sifa has been a normal, healthy baby. Hakuna maugonjwa ama anything. Because for my first son, along the way, alipata blood infection. All the time, from her, between age 1 up to 3, I've really struggled with blood infection with him a lot. But with Sifa, no kind of sickness. Yeah, we are just growing. And let me tell you guys, above it all, I want to say that I think depending and relying on God is the most important thing anyone can ever do. And maintaining friendship, no matter how small it looks or how far it looks, comes a long way. Maintaining friendship. Ata iko inakaaje? Because right now I can tell you the people who are close to me are friends who, right now my closest friend is a friend who I schooled with her in high school back then, and nishafika third floor, but we are still in contact. I have a friend who I think we grew up when we were still in nursery school, and I learned that you can never be alone. You need people around you. Family is the most important thing. Even if your family wanakanga aje ama wanagombananga, in my culture we say shit loves its own people. In my culture, because when you're sick, you're sick to a point you need to shit on yourself, you cannot change yourself. Your friends will come and change you for like 2 or 3 days, but after that watachoka. They'll be like, your family will never get tired. They will come and clean you up, deal with your shit, help you up. No matter how you smell, no matter how you are, they won't get tired. And me, I came to learn God, family, and friendship is the most important thing. And never ever value stuff. Yote ni vanity, trust you me. You can lose it any day, anytime. Never. Is my ban in the oven story.